Hey y'all, welcome back. Today's episode is about immigration, and immigration specifically to the US, and its really convoluted history. Let's go. The US has a very convoluted history of immigration. We are one of the most diverse countries, yet at the same point, we have made a lot of very protectionist and racist laws against people entering this country, depending on the time, the era, and how people felt about certain cultures. One of the first things America did that was really not cool is we did this thing called the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. And in that, obviously, it excluded Chinese people, right? These people helped build our railroads. They helped do a lot. They helped us during the gold mining eras in California. And they were excluded. They could not become citizens. They were essentially, saying, hey, no more of you can come here. We don't want you here. This sucks, right? These people contributed to our society, and we basically gave them the middle finger. And the only reason why was racism, right? Why else would we be saying they couldn't be here, right? Because mainly white Europeans moved to America, right, from Europe. And when America was first founded, it actually had no immigration laws because it was a brand new country, right? So it's a brand new country, and basically there's no immigration laws. That makes sense. But it gets bigger. It gets a little more, built out, and our government gets fleshed out, and we start wanting to, have immigration laws and more borders and stuff. And so we start excluding. And we did the Chinese Exclusion Act, which was not cool. But we also specifically, said, hey, we want people from Western European countries or Eastern European countries, or we don't want any Eastern Europeans actually because they're more communist, or they could have more, communistic beliefs. We actually don't want the Irish or the Italians because they're Catholic and not Protestant. So we started really looking at immigration as a way to exclude people whose beliefs didn't match up with the United States', beliefs of the people at that time, which is so funny because we are a country that is built on the pursuit of happiness, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, right? These amazing things that we have in our founding documents. And we have some really good stuff on the Bill of Rights, right? With protections to citizens, what the government can and cannot do. And so obviously people saw that and they're like, let's move here, right? And then we go right around and we turn around on them and say, actually, we don't want you here, even though we're all about freedom of religion, but you're Catholic. We're all about freedom of religion, but you're Muslim, right? And so this is a cycle that repeats and repeats here in America. And right now, in our current day and age, here in 2025, we are seeing a big, obviously push to deport a ton of Hispanic Americans, a ton of Hispanic people, immigrants. And I mean, there's even Americans who are Hispanic are getting detained, right, who are getting deported. Trump is talking about, wanting to deport citizens if they're criminals, and basically, a lot of stuff is inhumane. They're not going according to the Constitution towards the Bill of Rights. They are just ignoring things, and it's a really scary time, and that's why I want to talk about this. So this cycle has happened before, though, many times. And again, the Chinese Exclusion Act was one of the very first. So let's kind of dive into that. So the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 was the first law to exclude an entire ethnicity, which was Chinese workers. And this was filled by racist fears. They're taking our jobs, which has been the same fears that they use now, right? They have been using the same playbook since 1882. It's 2025. Guess what Trump was saying, on the campaign trail? Guess what I heard from people? Oh, they're going to take jobs. They're going to take jobs. They're going to take opportunity away. No, they're not, right? Many of these immigrants work jobs that are, working in agriculture, working in, so many different industries, working in construction. And these are things anyone can do, but they go into these industries at a high number. And it benefits America immensely. And perhaps it's benefiting America at a cheaper cost, right? When you look at it economically, because they're doing the work cheaper because they are immigrants. That benefits business owners. Now, I think they should be being paid fairly, but when you're looking at the economics of things, right, they are making the job cheaper for the business owner, for the builder, right? And so, and that's also a reason I think why certain people don't want to make immigration easier, because they know that if we let immigrants in illegally, they will work cheaper than maybe American companies will that would also do the construction, and thus they can get away with underpaying immigrants and build faster. And so people lobby that, hey, immigration shouldn't be good. That's a conspiracy theory. That's my theory, right? They don't want to make it easier because companies benefit off the cheap labor of immigrants, right? Which is despicable. But the thing is, the rhetoric's been the same from day one. They're taking our jobs. Whether it's the Chinese, whether it's Hispanic people, they're taking our jobs. You should not want them here. So they do the Chinese Exclusion Act, right? And basically, the fear of difference, the fear of something different coming into American culture has always been what they've used, right? And it's just so sad because there's not much different between me and you or anybody, right? We all grew up with aunts and uncles and cousins. We all grew up probably in religions, and while our languages might be different and our gods we serve might be different, the same emotional stories and traumas and memories we have are very similar. Like people I've met who are Muslim, who are, Catholic. I grew up Christian fundamentalist. A lot of people I've met who grew up like Muslim or Muslim fundamentalist, literally, like, we had the same childhood, like, because our religions are very closely tied, right? Judeo-Christian beliefs and Muslim beliefs have some of the same, like, founding, texts, right, with the Torah. And so there's so much more that we could connect on, and we did connect on with these friends that I met and coworkers that I met, where I'm like, oh my goodness, we had the same childhood. I was just told to serve Jesus, and you were told to serve Muhammad. That's it, right? So the differences aren't that much, but politicians and people in power and the ruling class have continually pushed on us this idea that you should be afraid of your neighbor who looks different than you, whose shade of skin is just a little darker than you, who speaks a little differently than you, who loves a little bit differently than you. You should be afraid of them. You should be afraid where they came from. They're going to bring new ideas. Those new ideas are dangerous. They're going to take your jobs. Guess what? If they are qualified and hardworking, they should take your job because they deserve it. That's how the market works, baby. That's how the market works. Guess what? If I wasn't a good barista and then someone is better than me, they're going to take my job. They're going to be like, Gabe, you got to be better. Okay? And the same goes for a higher paying job or a higher educated job. If someone comes in and is the child of an immigrant or is an immigrant and gets really good at whatever they're doing, they get super educated, and they come in and they take your job as a doctor, and you weren't working hard at being a doctor, because these people are more incentivized to work harder because they have more on the line than, U.S.-born citizens. So maybe they deserve your job if you're not working hard enough, right? And the thing is there's an abundance of jobs and work that needs to be done in this country, and that can be done, and we need immigrants to do that. We need people coming here to do that and to become citizens and to become part of the great American experiment, right? Because guess what? This whole American experiment, we are on the teetering steps of decline. I mean, we've been declining, but we're on the steps of complete collapse. Our country's absolute shit. We have too much debt. We're too focused on racism and hating each other that we're not, like, actually doing shit that matters, that actually helps the people, which is so sad. But let's kind of jump to another thing, something a little more hopeful, and something that came from a Republican president, Reagan. And I'm not a big fan of Reagan, but Reagan did something very cool in 1986. Reagan introduced the Immigration Reform and Control Act, and this legalized 3 million undocumented immigrants. It gave them amnesty. And essentially, Reagan called it humane and patriotic. And so basically he said, hey, if y'all are here, and you're not causing trouble, and you put down roots, and you've been working hard, we want to make you American citizens. And he did that. A Republican. How far has the Republican Party fallen? Because the Republican Party right now, the GOP, is so focused on race and fear and just fear-mongering and making people racist that it's not even funny. Like Reagan, someone who screwed the economy for my generation and a lot of people with trickle-down economics, literally had more empathy than current Republicans do about immigration. 3 million undocumented immigrants got amnesty because of Reagan. That's a huge win, and that's something that's really awesome. And so another thing that was good that happened, and this is kind of it's good that Obama did this, but Obama also, like, set up camps on the border that inhumane stuff happened in, and he also deported like 3 million people as well. And I understand deportations, like if we have laws and we need to deport people who are doing really bad shit, go for it. Like, get rid of bad criminals. I'm all for that. Like, that's common sense to me. Deporting people who have been here for 10, 20 years, who have laid down roots, who've been trying to get legal, because there are people I have known of who literally have been in the system for 10 years trying to get legal status, and they're still waiting. It shouldn't take that long. But the thing is, Obama set up the thing called the DACA program. Basically, deferred action for childhood arrivals, protection for kids brought here without papers, right? So this gives dreamers and kids more protections. And this has been controversial. People have, again, I'm for it. I'm pro-immigration. But over 800,000 dreamers were protected, basically kids who came here without their papers. And it's not a path to citizenship, but it does make sure that these people do not get deported. Now, the thing is we need to figure out more paths to citizenship, right? Basically, these were protections to protect people, and even these got highly politicized. I remember seeing news articles all the time when I was younger about the Dreamers program, and even into like 2016, because like some of the YouTubers I watched were part of DACA, and they're like, oh shit, like Obama is out and Trump is in, and he doesn't like the Dreamers program. What am I going to do? So, those are two really good things that kind of happened, protecting immigrants and legalizing a bunch of immigrants who are already here. And again, Reagan, a Republican, put that in place. And so the thing is like, we can have common sense policy, and right now we don't. What we have is cruelty. Cruelty is rising up in this country. We are seeing the rise of internment camps, essentially concentration camps. There's one being built in Florida. They're calling it Alligator Alcatraz. And basically some people are calling it Alligator Auschwitz, essentially, because what the Republicans have been saying around is, hey, if you try to escape, the alligators and the pythons and everything in the Florida Everglades will eat you, and we don't care. And then Laura Loomer, a Republican pundit who is close to Trump, she basically said, hey, we should send 65 million people here and let the alligators eat them. 65 million people is the population of Hispanic people in the U.S. So it's essentially, Laura Loomer is calling for essentially the genocide of Hispanic people. These people aren't even hiding it anymore. And the thing is when we look at safety regulation, this facility that they're building is essentially no more than a massive party tent, cages, and bunk beds. Florida gets hit with crazy weather all the time. Big time, right? What happens when a hurricane or floods come through that area in the Everglades? People are going to die, and they know it. They absolutely know it, and they don't care, because the people in power are racist, bigoted assholes. And there's no other way to put it. It's just the truth. They are afraid of immigrants. They are afraid of brown and black people. They are afraid of people of color. That's it quite simply. And fear is such a strong motivator, and they have just grabbed into the fear of the people as well. And they're making merch for it. It's fucking sick. It's just sick what they're doing, because they're like, ooh, here's this merch for Alligator Alcatraz. Like, what the fuck? Are we the Nazis now? Because that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. And in a way, I think we are, right? We are teetering. And not even teetering. We are already like knee deep in the waters of fascism. We're only 7 months in to this current administration, mind you. But the thing is, the history shows that we have had really convoluted shit on immigration. We can even also go to World War II. We made Japanese internment camps for Japanese people because, World War II was happening. We were afraid of them, and we put them in internment camps. We literally put them in concentration camps. Now, we did give them reparations because they're like, hey, sorry, that was wrong. And so I'm hoping that's what's going to happen here is people are going to realize, either when Trump gets ousted in the next election or whatever happens in the midterms, there's going to be a reckoning for the people who are, praising and putting in legislation to actively take away people's rights. And my concern is Trump's not going to stop with, immigrants. He wants to go after citizens. And he said this. He's like, I want to deport U.S. citizens who are criminals. That is unconstitutional, number one. You can't deport American criminals to other countries. That just cannot be done. But he has stacked the courts in his favor. He has a Republican Senate and Congress. And again, I don't think that will be passed. But again, never say never. Because this guy is doing so much damage in 7 months. They're not following the rules. And the courts and the legal systems are slow to catch up. And Trump knows this. So he's getting away with a lot more than he should. And that's what's concerning. That's what terrifies me. Because there's so many people I know that are, Hispanic, who are of other races that I love and I care about. And then there's also people like, just in general, like, what if Trump wants to get rid of citizens that he just doesn't like? And it's like, oh, hey, Gabe, you have a misdemeanor or something. I don't. But, like, if I did, oh, we're going to get rid of you on that. Or, you know what, we're going to slap you with a felony charge because you criticize the government, right? Again, they would have to really go unconstitutional to do that shit. But they're setting up the legal pathway to do it. Even if it doesn't happen, they are setting the blocks in line. And the people that want this is like the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025. Everything goes back to that. I hate them. Hate them so much. Heritage Foundation sucks. And it's all there. And this current policy that we're seeing with immigration is just blatantly racist. That's it. Our current policy. And again, this is a cycle. We've seen this before. Again, we did it with the Chinese Exclusion Act. America needs to figure out what it wants to do next with immigration. It really does, because we need to get better at it, right? Or we're going to just completely cut people off from coming in. And I think people like Stephen Miller, and I think people like the Heritage Foundation, crazy Republicans, they want this nation to look like one race, me. That's it. That's all they want. That's terrifying. We should not want that. That is bad, right? That's not going to happen. We're a very diverse country. But we need to move towards a future in which it is everybody. Because guess what? We're stronger when we're united and when we're diverse. Diversity is strength in so many things. A diverse ecosystem is much better than a non-diverse ecosystem. Because guess what? Diverse crops are better. Because like if you run all one crop, right? And then a pest comes through and it wipes out all your corn. And corn was your only crop. You're screwed. But if you also planted zucchini and you also planted these other things, diversity is a good thing. It makes more resilience. Even with disease and vaccines. Guess what? When you give yourself a vaccine for measles, mumps, rubella, all those things, that's a diverse cocktail of diseases that you're acclimating your body to. And if you don't have that, guess what happens? Your body is way less ready to fight them unless you have that stuff already in there. Being exposed to different ideas, different people, makes us stronger, not weaker. And statistics show this in our economy and in who holds what kind of jobs. And actually, let's dive into that. So, the economics of immigrants, right? 1 in 4 U.S. doctors are immigrants. 73% of U.S. farm and labor equals immigrant. 55% of all startups valued at $1 billion or plus were immigrant founded. And 1 in 5 small business owners are immigrants. These people add so much value to our country. And guess what? When it comes to like tax revenue, because countries run on that, all of those things are jobs. Doctors make a lot of money. Startups make a lot of money. Business owners make more money. All of that goes towards funding our roads, our healthcare, our education, our military, all of those things. They contribute. Big time they contribute. And so what makes me so mad is also some of the most important immigrants in our history that literally changed the course of history when it came to World War II. Albert Einstein helped create the nuclear bomb and helped us understand nuclear energy and the theory of relativity. If we were like, hey, no bueno, Albert, we don't like you, we would have fallen behind. The outcome of World War II could have been way different, possibly, because we would have not had that technology first. Nikola Tesla, who figured out so much for us with electricity, was an immigrant from Croatia. Immigrants make America great. They make America what it is. And the statistics show us that Americans are a diverse cocktail of people. I mean, you can look at your own genetics if you are a person who's Caucasian or white, right? You're not just one race, right? For me, it's 52% British-Irish, 30% Bavarian and French, 5% like Eastern European, and then like, or 1% like Eastern Europeans, like Russia, and then like 5% like Northwestern Europeans, so like Denmark, Germany area. And then guess what? I'm 0.1% indigenous. So the actual part of me that's from America is teeny tiny, like minuscule, like it barely even shows up. I'm all Europe, but I'm a bunch of different places from Europe, and people forget that. Like, there is no racial purity, and there should never be. And so the whole idea of, oh, we're getting replaced, right? There's the great replacement theory. It's stupid. And that's just blatantly built on racism. Demographics do change, 100%. And the future we're going towards is going to be a future in which more of us are mixed. But the thing is we are already mixed. You are mixed with a bunch of different white kind of folk. That's it. That's the truth. And then, if you're a person of color, you might be mixed with 5 other different races. No one is pure anything, and they shouldn't be, right? When the Germans were like, ooh, we're Aryans. No, they were a mix of probably Denmark and Hamburg and some other place. And guess what? We all came from Africa. Yeah, way back in the day, 250,000 years ago, our haliogroups can all be traced back to Africa. Every single one of them. All of us came from there. That is where humanity, where all the cocktail of evolution or whatever happened, whether it's evolution, God, or whatever you believe in, it all started there. That's what the evidence shows us, right? So we all came from the same place, yet we have the audacity to be like, nah, you can't come here and you can't go there, you can't come here, we don't want to help you. Yet we are all biologically, essentially, the same. We are 99.9% or 0.5% genetically the same. Me and you, right? The reason people look different skin colors is, quite frankly, only because of how close they are to the equator. That's it. Your environment does that, right? So the further you are from the equator, probably going to look a little more like me. The closer you are to the equator, probably going to look more brown or black, right? That is just how evolution works, how our bodies adapt to environments, and then generationally, you're going to see those same, genetic qualities be passed down to children. That's it. That is it. We are the same. And so it saddens my heart that America is so focused on making you believe that your neighbor, who is Hispanic, or who is any other race, right, that they're trying to get rid of, is a threat to you. They're not. The only people that are a threat to America are the rich. That's it. The extremely rich and powerful are the biggest threat to everyone in the world. People like Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, they are the threat. The ruling class is the threat. One thing Marx got right on the head was the only war is class war. That's it. Me and you hating each other based on race, the ruling class wants that. They want me to hate my neighbor. They want me to dislike the cashier at the store. They want me to believe my job is being stolen by someone who looks different than me. Well, guess what? I don't buy into it. My job and my futures and my ability to sustain my life is being stolen by billionaires who want to automate everything away, who want to continually get more tax cuts while stripping public funding. They're the ones who are stealing your future, not your neighbor. But they have convinced us so well that it is your neighbor who looks different than you that is taking your opportunity. That is not the truth. It is Elon Musk who is taking your opportunity, right? Because he's getting government subsidies. He is getting tax cuts. Every billionaire is. It is Peter Thiel specifically who is going to limit your freedoms with Palantir, which will have data on every U.S. citizen with the help of the United States government. Those are the people that are the enemy, not your neighbor. And the ruling class, those people in power, they know that they can get people afraid of each other. They can control them. They use fear to control. Fear is a better motivator than hope sometimes because we are more likely to act out of the fear of loss than we are of the hope of a better future. Oh, I'm going to lose my job. I better work harder. Oh, I'm going to lose my chance to do this. I better work harder. I better do something. Oh, I might lose my chance to enter this giveaway. I got to do this really quick. And instead of being like, well, what future can we hope for? What future can we build? What hope can we put in people to build the best possible future? The economics of immigration show us that immigrants add so much value. The amount of immigrants in this country who have contributed majorly, scientifically, business-wise, entrepreneurially, is insane. Guess what as well? Interracial marriage is up. People, more than ever, are in interracial relationships. That's awesome. And guess what? Interracial marriage was not legal until, I think the 1950s or 60s. Isn't that insane? In America, you could not legally be married to a person who is a different race than you. Right? That's wild that was a law. That's insane to me. And so we have to think. We've made so much progress in so many areas, but we also keep backpedaling. And again, this is the cycle America's been in. They use fear to divide us so that they can take more power. Trump is using fear so he can consolidate more power in the executive branch. That is what's terrifying. And that power is going to be used against everybody, not just immigrants. Because guess what? When they can take the rights away of an immigrant, the next step is to be able to take yours away. And that is why I stand for immigrant rights. That's why I stand for trans rights. That's why I stand for women's rights. Because guess what? A threat to women's rights and abortion access is a threat to your rights. The threat to trans rights and gender-affirming care is a threat to your rights. The threat to immigrants and deportation and birthright citizenship are all threats to you. The more power that is given, especially to a corrupt government, is more power they can use against their citizens to weaponize the law to literally get rid of you. Okay? We don't want that. That's why America has such a cool founding document, and the 10th through First Amendments with the Bill of Rights and stuff are so important to protecting me and yours rights. And we're supposed to have a legal system that protects us. Right? There is a better future out there. We can get through the cycle of being racist and exclusionary and protectionist. Because guess what? We are better together. We are better united. We are better diverse. And the facts literally prove it. And again, there's no racial purity. No great replacement is happening because no one is racially pure and they shouldn't be. Right? Again, white, but I'm French Bavarian and Irish and English and a little bit of Russian and a teeny bit of Native American, the tiniest amount. That is a cocktail. That is 1,000 different stories that happened over thousands of years that all can originate, again, back to Africa. Okay? So, it is common sense not to be a racist, and it is common sense to make immigration easier. Again, we need it to make economic and make sense in the sense of we need to have the housing for immigrants. We do, 100%. So we need to solve those issues. Let's build more housing. Let's build more roads. Let's build more cities if we're going to be letting more people into our country. Cool. We need to do that. That is something we need to do because it benefits the citizens. It benefits everybody. We need more infrastructure. We need better infrastructure. If we are going to let more people in, we need to be able to accommodate them. That makes sense. Right? Saying, hey, we're going to slow down on immigration right now because we need to build out the U.S. to be able to help more people. Cool. That is a decent reason to slow down. But to tell people they can't come in because they are Muslim or Hispanic or because you don't like their certain religion or the way they look, that is just racism and discrimination. It is. It is straight up. It is straight up racism and discrimination. And most of these laws are built on that. So, we got to be better. We're nearly at the end here. Let's drive through the timeline one more time. So we're nearly at the end here. I want to wrap this all up about the better future that we can create. But first, I want to go through the timeline one more time of all the really significant acts that have happened with immigration. So in 1790, we had the Naturalization Act, which citizenship was limited to free white persons. In 1882, we had the Chinese Exclusion Act, which excluded immigrants from China. In 1924, we had the 1924 Immigration Act, which favored Northern and Western European immigrants. In 1965, the Hart-Celler Act ended racial quotas on immigration. And then in 2017, there was a Muslim ban targeting several Muslim-majority countries, not letting people in. That was under Trump. Those are the bad things. Again, we had in 1986, Reagan gave amnesty to 3 million immigrants. Huge win. In 2012, I believe, Obama did the DACA program, which protected 800,000 dreamers who want to get citizenship, right? Didn't make the path to citizenship easier, but it protected them from deportation. That is the history. We are a country that has been built predominantly on, European settlers. And when the Europeans first got here, they were like, okay, let's exclude everyone else. Even though our founding documents and much of our Constitution wants to give freedoms to everybody. But there was a lot of racism back then. And there's a lot of racism now. It hasn't gone away. The thing is we can do better. And our past shows that we can. Reagan, again, a president I don't like, did better. He legalized 3 million immigrants who are already here because they were hardworking. Bush Sr. literally would say during some of his, debates was like, hey, if you're working hard and you've been here and you've caused no trouble, there should be a way for you to become a citizen. So the current party that is, pushing all these racist ideologies, pushing great replacement theory, saying these people are going to take all your jobs, this is a tale as old as time. They are using race to divide us from the fact that they're taking more and more wealth from the middle and poor classes and essentially giving it to billionaires. They are consolidating more power in the executive branch. They are giving corporations more free will over our country. And they want us to be mad at each other because, that person's going to steal your job and they look different. That's not how it works. The only people we need to worry about are the ruling class, the rich. Again, Karl Marx was right about that. The only war is class war, in my opinion. That is the only war. Most things, most wars fought, generally, and most revolutions are all about people overthrowing the ruling class. We need to focus our sights on the people who are literally taking our rights away. Again, if they can take away the rights of immigrants, they will come after yours next. If they can take away the rights of gay people, or of trans people, or of any marginalized community, or of women, they will come after yours. When someone gains more rights, when women get more rights, that's more rights for everybody. It's more protections for everybody. It's more freedom for everybody. We can build a better future. And the future I want to see is one in which we build a country that is diverse. That we sell the American dream so hard in the sense of, hey, come here, have freedom of speech, have freedom of religion, and build the best possible future. Where everyone who comes here wants to be, American in a sense and be like, oh, wow, I love this country so much that I'm loyal to my neighbor. I'm loyal to my comrades, essentially, because there's so much opportunity here. And again, I'm not the biggest fan of what America's done as a country. It's done horrible things. It's killed people. It's warred. It's spent its money on bad things. It's actively genocided Native Americans. It supports genocide in Gaza. America is extremely flawed. But we have a lot of cool things when it comes to our founding document. And I live here, and my life here has been pretty good. Now, economically, it's getting worse, for sure. I would say the economy has not been good the last 6 years. And it's getting worse for Gen Z and Gen Alpha. I think our only way forward is by being more diverse, having more diverse thought, having more problem-solving skills. And that's going to come from diverse amounts of people, different backgrounds. Because the strongest communities, the strongest nations are built on diverse amounts of people. And we need to be kinder. We need to let more refugees in my opinion. We do not need to be turning away people who need our help. If we have been blessed by being the most powerful country in the world, we should be helping people, right? America turned away the Jewish people during World War II, right? I think we also turned away Syrian refugees as well. We need to be better. There are better ways in which we can help people. And my opinion and who I am is I was taught that you should help people. I'm not even a Christian anymore, right? But Jesus says, love thy neighbor as thyself. Well, my neighbor is the person down my street, but it's also the neighboring country. It's the entire world. You know why? Because we're all the same. Mexico is America's neighbor. Canada is America's neighbor. Everyone is your neighbor. Because we share one planet. Okay? We share one rock floating in an infinite soup of space. And the rich and powerful have us arguing over the fact that my skin is a little different than yours. That my God is a little different than yours. That the way I speak is a little different than yours. That's what they got us on, right? They've used racism to divide us so that we do not see the horrible things they are doing with their power. We need to build a future in which we make immigration easier. The process to get into the U.S. should not take 10 years. It should take 2 or 1 or whatever. Vetting needs to be good, but we need to make the process easier. We need to help refugees. We need to build out infrastructure in the U.S. for Americans and for people who want to become American. We need to make the American dream alive again for Americans and for immigrants. Because again, people are coming here for a reason, to escape a bad situation. And I think if you are strong, you are obligated to protect the weak. That is what I was taught. That is what I believe. That is even what the Bible teaches. And I don't know what Bible these conservative Christians are reading, right? I don't know what they're reading because Jesus quite plainly said, I was a stranger in a foreign land and you clothed me. Guess what? We have some strangers in our land and they're good people and we should help them. And again, I'm not even a Christian. I don't even believe in God. I think the Bible's a highly flawed book. But Jesus had some bangers, man. And the people who voted for Trump were evangelicals, people who claim to be Christian. If the Christian God is real, if Jesus is real, he is probably so disappointed with the Christians of this day and age. We can build a better nation. We have a choice going forward as a country. Make immigration easier. Make it more ethical. Make deportations humane, right? Yeah, we have laws. Yeah, let's get rid of criminals. Cool. Get rid of gang members. I don't want American gang members on the street. I don't want gang members from other countries on the street. That makes common sense. Cool. Awesome. People who are committing a ton of crimes that are here illegally. Cool. Get rid of them. That's not what's happening right now. They're detaining innocent people, day laborers, and people who are just working hard for their families. People who are trying to go to court to get their citizenship. Kids in school. There's a humane way to enforce laws. And right now, they're not doing it. And also, not all laws are humane. Not all laws are morally just. Slavery was legal at one point, guys. That was not a morally correct thing to do. Women not being able to vote was legal at one point. That was not a morally correct thing to do. Women could not have bank accounts until 1971, to my knowledge. That is not a morally correct thing to do. Just because something legal does not mean it's right. What I want to see us go forward with here in the U.S., and just as people everywhere, empathy needs to lead. Empathy and knowledge. And empathy and understanding of your neighbor. Because again, the only enemy we have is the ruling class, not your neighbor. I love you all. Thank you for listening to my rant on immigration. Again, I'm very pro-immigration, obviously. You probably know that from listening to this whole video if you did. Regardless, I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. And let's build a better world. Let's get out there and keep planning. Let's run for office. I plan on running for office because I want to change things. And I need to change things, right? I have to. And me talking about it is helping. But I also need to take action. And so, as young people, as people who want to be progressive, who want to help people, we need to get into office. We need to start doing things. We need to start organizing. And we need to change things. And maybe in the next 50, 60, 70, 80 years, however long we live, however long we work at this, we can make our country better. We can make the lives of so many people better, and we can make humane laws, humane treatment of people. I love y'all. Appreciate you. One world, one people. Peace.